It's 6:42 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Not a dramatic day, not a special one. Just another square on the calendar. Your coffee maker hums on the kitchen counter. The smell of coffee fills the room. The TV murmurs in the background, half ignored. Traffic updates. Weather graphics sliding across the screen. A meteorologist smiling as if the future is predictable. Then your phone screams. Not the soft vibration of a text message, not the familiar ringtone of a call. This is different. A sharp, mechanical shriek. Loud, unforgiving, designed to hijack your nervous system, the emergency alert system. The sound you've heard in tests, always followed by reassurance. Never meant to be real. Your hands start shaking before your brain understands why. You look down. Ballistic missile threat inbound. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. For exactly 3 seconds, your mind rejects it. This can't be real. It has to be a mistake, a hacked system, a technical error. In a few minutes, someone will explain it away. Morning show hosts will laugh nervously, officials will apologize, life will snap back into place. Then it happens again. Every phone in your neighborhood begins screaming the same alert. Through walls, through windows. Car radios cut mid-sentence. TVs interrupt themselves. The sound spreads outward like a digital shockwave, bouncing off buildings, stacking panic on panic. This isn't a glitch. You do the math without realizing you're doing it. 15 minutes maybe. 10 if you're near the coast and it's coming from a submarine. 0 if you're wrong. And here's where most people fail. They freeze. They stand there staring at their phones like the words might change. They call spouses, parents, children. They open social media, scrolling desperately for confirmation, for reassurance, for someone to say it's fake. They waste the most valuable resource they have. Time. Don't be most people. The second that alert sounds, your brain has to flip a switch. Survival mode. No emotions. No denial, no bargaining, just action. First, location. Where are you? A major city? Near a military base? Close to ports, power plants, industrial zones, communication hubs? These places aren't random. They're targets. If you're there, you don't have much time at all. Rural or suburban. You've got a little more margin, not safety. Margin. The physics are brutal, but they're simple. A modern nuclear warhead, around 1 megaton, creates a fireball nearly 2 miles wide. Anything inside that radius is erased, not damaged, gone. At 3 miles out, overpressure hits around 10 psi, enough to flatten most residential structures. At 5 miles, 5 psi. Windows shatter, walls fail, glass becomes shrapnel. But here's what almost everyone misunderstands about nuclear war. Most people who die in the first hour aren't killed by the explosion, they're killed by what happens next. People run to windows to see what's happening, and are sliced apart by flying glass. People panic and stampede. People jump into cars, clog highways, and get trapped in rolling traffic jams with nowhere to go. People flee their homes unprepared and die from exposure hours later. So rule number 1, don't go to the windows. Don't go outside. Don't get in your car. Go inward. If you have a basement, get there immediately. That's your best option. Concrete and earth are your allies. No basement? Find the most interior room in your house. A bathroom, a closet, somewhere with no exterior walls and no windows. Distance and mass are what protect you. But before you settle in, you have maybe 8 minutes to do something critical. Rapid household hardening. First, gas. Nuclear blasts generate massive pressure waves. Gas lines rupture. Fires spread citywide. Historically, fires kill more people than the initial blast. Every home has a gas shutoff valve where the line enters. Find it now. Turn it off. Not later. Not if you remember. Now. Next, water. Fill everything. Bathtubs, sinks, buckets, pots, bottles. The blast will likely damage water mains and treatment facilities. What's in your pipes right now may be all you have for days, maybe weeks. Grab your phone charger, battery packs, anything that holds power. A nuclear detonation creates an electromagnetic pulse. Electronics plugged into the grid are vulnerable. Devices that are unplugged or shielded might survive. Your phone isn't entertainment anymore. It's information, it's connection, it's survival. Have you ever actually thought through what you'd do in these first minutes? Drop a comment. I read everyone. I want to know how your instincts work. Now, something that surprises a lot of people. Don't tape your windows. It's a myth that refuses to die. Tape doesn't stop glass from breaking. It turns windows into larger, heavier, deadlier shards. The solution isn't tape. It's distance. Stay away from them entirely. If you have N95 masks, respirators, or any face covering, grab them. Fallout dust carries radioactive particles. Even a t-shirt over your mouth is better than nothing. Now comes the psychological battle. You're going to hear things. Sirens. Jets screaming overhead. Maybe distant low rumbles that don't sound like anything you've heard before. Your instincts will beg you to look, to confirm, to understand. Don't. Curiosity kills in nuclear war. The thermal flash can permanently blind you from over 50 miles away at night. Even far from ground zero, looking directly at it can burn your retinas in an instant. 10 minutes in, you should be in your shelter, water beside you, phone powered down or on low battery, basic supplies gathered. Now the hardest part begins, waiting. This is when your thoughts spiral. You think about family in other cities, friends who might be closer to the target. You wonder if this is one weapon, or the start of something much bigger. The news is gone, power's out, stations are silent, the internet flickers and dies. This is when people make fatal choices. They leave to check on others. They try to drive across town. They assume it's over after one explosion. It usually isn't. If one nuclear weapon is used, more are likely coming. Military doctrine calls it escalation dominance. You don't strike once. You strike hard enough to remove the enemy's ability to respond. So you wait. You listen to a battery-powered radio if you have one. You conserve power. You don't panic when the lights die. Because they almost certainly will, either from the EMP or from grid damage. 12 minutes after that first alert, the world you knew no longer exists. You may not have seen the flash, you may not have felt the blast, but everything has changed. The only question left is whether you positioned yourself to survive what comes next. Because the explosion is just the beginning. The silence is what gets you first. No sirens, no traffic, no aircraft. Just a heavy, unnatural quiet pressing against your eardrums like you're underwater. You check your phone. 7:03 a.m. No signal. The internet is gone. Not slow, not buffering. Gone. Social media doesn't refresh. News sites don't load. Messages don't send. Even basic communication fails. The outside world has gone completely dark. And that might be the reason you're still alive. 20 minutes have passed since the alert. If you're breathing right now, if the walls around you are still standing, then you made the correct decision. You stayed put. You didn't run. You didn't panic. Now, the real physics of nuclear war take over. While you're crouched in your basement or sealed into an interior room, the world outside is unraveling in ways most people never imagined. The electromagnetic pulse has already done its work. That invisible wave of energy swept across hundreds of miles, frying unprotected electronics in a fraction of a second. Cars are dead, not damaged. Dead. Their computerized ignition systems will never respond. Traffic lights are dark. Elevators are frozen between floors. Hospital equipment has gone offline mid-procedure. The electrical grid is collapsing, one node at a time, like falling dominoes. But here's what almost no one realizes. The EMP isn't a single event. It's 3 separate blows. First comes E1, a nanosecond spike so fast and powerful it kills semiconductor chips instantly, anything delicate, anything modern. Then E2 follows, like artificial lightning finishing off systems that survive the first hit. Then comes E3, slow, massive, devastating. E3 induces enormous electrical currents and long power lines, overloading transformers the size of buildings. These aren't spare parts sitting in warehouses. Each one is custom built, months to manufacture, weighs as much as a locomotive. When they burn out, entire regions don't go dark for days, they go dark for years. Your house is now an island, not comfort, not safety, survival. And staying alive means understanding what comes next. Fallout. If this was a surface burst, and if cities or military bases were the targets, it almost certainly was, then thousands of tons of soil, concrete, metal, and debris were vaporized in an instant. That material rose into the sky inside a mushroom cloud climbing to 60,000 feet. As it cools, those particles condense, carrying radioactive isotopes back toward the ground. This is where the 7 to 10 rule comes in. For every 7-fold increase in time after the explosion, radiation drops by a factor of 10. 1 hour after detonation, radiation might be 1,000 roentgens per hour. 7 hours later, it's 100. 2 days later, 10. 2 weeks later, about 1. But that first hour, the one you're in right now, is the deadliest window. Fallout doesn't land evenly. It rides the wind, forming a long cigar-shaped plume stretching downwind from the blast. If you're in that path, heavy particles begin arriving within 15 to 30 minutes. They look like ash, dark sand, sometimes mixed with rain that turns black as it falls. This is why you filled every container with water. This is why you sealed doors with towels. Each particle is a microscopic reactor pumping out gamma rays and beta radiation, silent, relentless. The most dangerous isotopes don't sound threatening. They sound clinical. Iodine-131, which attacks your thyroid. Cesium-137, which mimics potassium and embeds itself in muscle tissue. Strontium-90, which your bones mistake for calcium. Inside your shelter, you're playing a numbers game. Protection factor. That's how much radiation your shelter blocks. A typical house gives you a protection factor of about 2, cuts exposure in half. Better than nothing. A basement is different. Soil, concrete, the structure above you. That combination can give you a protection factor of 10, 20, even 100. Those aren't statistics. They're the difference between walking away and dying slowly weeks later. But protection factor only works if you stay put. Going upstairs doesn't double your exposure, it multiplies it. 10 times, 100 times. 5 minutes outside your shelter could deliver a lethal dose that doesn't kill you immediately, but guarantees it later. Quick question. Did you know about the 7 to 10 rule before this video? Drop it in the comments. These are the facts nobody teaches, and they matter more than almost anything else right now. Now your mind starts betraying you. Radiation is invisible, odorless, silent. You can't feel it burning through your cells. Symptoms don't arrive right away. Nausea, fatigue, hair loss. They take days. So part of your brain keeps whispering that this isn't real, that you're overreacting, that you should just step outside for a second. Fight that urge. The people who survive nuclear war aren't the strongest. They're the most disciplined. You take inventory. Water. You manage to store around 15 gallons. Enough for about 5 days if you ration carefully. Food. Whatever was already in your pantry. Not luxury. Survival calories. Probably a week if you're not picky. The battery-powered radio crackles to life now and then. Broken emergency broadcasts. instructions to stay indoors, warnings about contaminated water, mentions of evacuation centers that may no longer exist. Mostly silence. Outside, the city is dying slowly. Hospital generators are running out of fuel. Water treatment plants are offline. Fire departments can't respond to the blazes started by the thermal pulse. Trucks won't start, radios don't work. The people who panicked and tried to flee by car are stranded on highways. Vehicles dead from the EMP, sitting exposed as fallout settles on them like snow. Some are walking back toward the city. Some are walking away from it. Every step exposes them to more radiation. You think about your neighbors. The elderly couple next door. The family with small children down the street. Did they make it to shelter? Should you check on them? For now, the answer is no. The radiation outside is still near its peak. Opening the door could pull contaminated air inside. Helping others right now could mean killing yourself. This is the brutal math of nuclear survival. Altruism has a timing problem. 40 minutes into the first hour, you realize something most people never understand until it's too late. Survival isn't about courage. It's about patience. Modern civilization is far more fragile than anyone ever wanted to believe. One weapon, one detonation in the right place. That's all it takes to shove an entire region back into the 19th century faster than it takes to cook dinner. Power gone. Communication gone. Systems people assumed were permanent erased in minutes. But you're still alive. That matters. You made the right choices when it counted. Now comes the hardest test of all. Staying disciplined when every instinct in your body is screaming at you to move. 53 minutes after the alert, you see it. A fine, dark dust clinging to the basement window. At first glance, it looks harmless, like the grit that settles after nearby construction, something you'd normally wipe away without thinking. But this dust is death, reduced to particles. Every speck contains fragments of the weapon's uranium or plutonium core, fused with soil, concrete, metal. Matter that was vaporized at temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun. Now it's condensing back into solid form, drifting down, carrying enough radiation to kill you in hours. This is the moment nuclear war stops being theoretical. If you had a Geiger counter, it would be screaming. You don't. So you rely on knowledge and discipline. That dust outside your window is emitting gamma rays that punch through walls, beta particles that can burn exposed skin, alpha particles that are harmless outside the body but lethal if inhaled. Concrete helps, but it isn't magic. The half-value layer for gamma radiation in concrete is about 4 inches. Every 4 inches cuts radiation in half. Your basement walls are likely 6 to 8 inches thick, giving you a protection factor somewhere between 10 and 15. The floor above you adds more shielding. But it's imperfect. Radiation is still getting through. Every minute you remain here adds to your total dose. The question isn't whether you're being exposed, it's whether it's enough to kill you. The math doesn't care about fear. Around 100 Roentgens over time makes you sick. 200 makes you very sick. 400 is a coin flip, some survive, some don't. 600 is almost certainly fatal without medical care that probably no longer exists. You do the calculation in your head. If it's 1,000 Roentgens per hour outside right now, your basement might be cutting that down to 70 or 100 per hour. Still dangerous, but survivable if you don't get impatient. The trick is waiting long enough for physics to work in your favor. Your phone buzzes. Somehow, for a moment, there's a signal. A text from your brother in another state. "Are you okay?" the news is saying. And then it dies. You stare at the incomplete message, wondering what the rest of the world knows that you don't, and whether knowing would even help. In command centers around the globe, military leaders are staring at glowing screens. Satellite feeds replay the mushroom cloud. Radiation sensors confirm the detonation. Analysts argue over data, timelines, trajectories. Was this a single strike, or the first move in something much larger? Even the experts don't know yet. Modern warfare moves faster than certainty. Decisions are made on partial information, on best guesses, and those decisions determine whether what you just lived through was a solitary nightmare, or the opening chapter of the end. You try the radio again. Static, then a voice, broken and distant. Radiation levels decreasing but remain dangerous. Stay in shelter for a minimum of 48 hours. Do not attempt rescue operations until authorities. Static, 48 hours, 2 full days in this basement. You take inventory again, slower, more carefully. Water, maybe 4 days worth if you ration hard. Food, canned goods, dry cereal, crackers, not balanced, but enough calories. Then the problem most people don't think about: sanitation. Your toilet might flush once or twice with what's left in the tank. After that, you'll need a backup. A bucket lined with plastic bags, degrading, uncomfortable, but safer than contaminating your shelter. Quick question for the comments. How many people do you think actually have 48 hours of supplies at home right now? Most households don't even have 3 days of food. Temperature becomes an issue next. Without power, your home is slowly matching the outside air. If it's winter, cold creeps in. Layers become essential. Burning furniture or books might provide heat, but only with ventilation. Carbon monoxide kills faster than radiation. If it's summer, dehydration becomes the enemy. You sweat more. You need more water. But every sip reduces tomorrow's supply. Every drop is a calculation. The sound of aircraft passes overhead. High altitude, not commercial, probably military. Reconnaissance, patrols, or something worse. You wonder what the pilots see from up there. Whether they're photographing devastation that will someday sit in history books, assuming anyone is left to write them. An hour and 15 minutes after the alert, you let yourself think bigger. If this was terrorism, a single weapon smuggled into a port or hidden in a truck, then the response will be swift, targeted. Authorities will move, help will come, eventually. But if this was state-sponsored, if nations are trading nuclear fire, then this is the beginning of the end of the modern world. Supply chains collapse, governments struggle, law and order strain. The social contract that keeps millions cooperating instead of killing each other begins to tear. You check your watch. 8:17 a.m. Less than 2 hours ago, your biggest concern was traffic on the way to work. Now you're calculating radiation exposure and wondering whether the water in your basement sink is safe to drink. Outside, the dust is getting thicker. What started as a light coating now looks like a dirty snowfall. Some of it is just debris, but some of it is the most dangerous substance you will ever be near. But mixed into that dust are the true killers, invisible, silent, persistent, radioactive isotopes that will contaminate everything they touch for decades. They settle into soil, seep into concrete, cling to metal, poison water. Long after the flash fades, long after the headlines stop, they remain. You think about the cleanup. If there even is an afterward, Chernobyl took hundreds of thousands of workers and decades just to contain. Fukushima is still being cleaned more than 10 years later. Entire exclusion zones carved out of the map. The place where that explosion happened will be a dead zone longer than you'll be alive. But thinking about decades from now doesn't help you survive the next 46 hours. So you stop thinking ahead. You settle in. Outside, the deadly snow keeps falling. 2 hours in. By now, you understand something unsettling. Radiation isn't the hardest enemy. Your own mind is. The dust finally stops falling. The world beyond your basement window looks almost normal again. Buildings still standing, streets quiet, just a thin gray coating on everything, like a bad snowfall that never melted. Your brain starts negotiating. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe the radiation has already dropped. Maybe you could just step outside for a minute. That voice isn't curious, it's lethal. Radiation sickness doesn't announce itself. You won't feel gamma rays tearing through your cells. There's no pain, no warning, nausea, exhaustion, hair loss. Those arrive hours or days later. By then, if you took a lethal dose, the outcome is already sealed. This is what makes nuclear war so psychologically brutal. The danger is invisible. The consequences are delayed. Your instincts, shaped over millions of years to react to immediate threats, are useless here. So you impose discipline. You build a routine. Check the radio once an hour. Sip water at scheduled intervals. Do push-ups, squats, stretches. Anything to keep blood moving. Count supplies. Recount them. You write notes. What you hear, what you feel, what time it is. Partly to stay sane. Partly because if there is a someday, this record might matter. The isolation starts creeping in. Humans aren't meant for this kind of solitude, especially not under threat. You catch yourself talking out loud just to hear a voice. You replay conversations with family. Things you said. Things you wish you'd said. Are they safe? Do they even know what happened? Your phone has been silent for over an hour now. No alerts, no messages, no notifications. The digital umbilical cord that connected you to the world has been severed. You are alone with your thoughts. This is when people die. They convince themselves they need to check on elderly relatives. They decide they can run to the store real quick. Hey, assume the government is exaggerating and it's safe enough to leave. Don't be those people. Radiation levels outside are still roughly 100 times higher than normal background. A quick walk to a neighbor's house could give you a dose that makes you violently ill. A supply run could kill you. This is where the 7 to 10 rule saves lives. Every 7 hours, radiation drops by a factor of 10. If it was 1,000 Roentgens per hour earlier, then at the 7-hour mark it's about 100. At 49 hours, 7 times 7, it's down to around 10, still dangerous, but survivable for brief exposure. You aren't waiting blindly, you're waiting for physics. And physics doesn't care about boredom or fear or loneliness. Radioactive decay follows math with absolute obedience. 3 hours after the alert, you hear something new. Voices, human voices, muffled, distant, but unmistakable. Neighbors, people who decided they couldn't wait anymore. Your instinct screams to respond, to call out, to let them know they're not alone. You stop yourself. Any communication that requires opening a door or window also means letting contaminated air inside. The voices fade. You wonder if they understand what they're walking through, if they know what every breath is doing to their bodies. Drop a comment if you honestly think you could handle 48 hours like this. Most people dramatically underestimate how hard the mental side really is. The radio crackles again. Federal disaster area. Avoid all surface water. Do not consume locally grown food for the next. Static cuts the rest. But it's enough. The government still exists. Somewhere. There are still people issuing instructions, planning, coordinating. Help is being organized. It just can't reach you yet. You think about the bigger picture. Right now, emergency responders are suiting up in protective gear. Military units are establishing checkpoints. Decontamination stations are being assembled. Scientists are taking radiation readings, modeling fallout plumes, drawing invisible boundaries on maps. They won't reach you for another day and a half. Until then, survival is your responsibility. The afternoon sun slants through the basement window, illuminating millions of floating dust motes. They look innocent, almost beautiful. Some of them might carry trace radioactive contamination. You sealed the room as best you could, but no shelter is perfect. That's the truth of nuclear survival. You're not eliminating risk, you're managing it. Every hour you stay inside reduces your total dose. Every smart decision you made in those first frantic minutes is paying off now. Your water supply is holding. You've been disciplined. Small sips, never drinking just because you're thirsty. Food is simple but sufficient. Crackers, canned soup. Calories are calories. The real battle is inside your head. Your brain keeps trying to categorize what's happening, to fit it into some familiar box. There isn't one. Most humans have never lived through anything like this. You think about the people who didn't make it to shelter, the ones trapped in cars when the EMP hit, the ones outside when the thermal pulse flashed, the ones who ran toward the blast looking for loved ones. Nuclear war doesn't care about intentions. It doesn't reward bravery or punish fear. It doesn't distinguish heroes from cowards. It's physics, unfolding with cold precision, obeying laws that are utterly indifferent to human morality. 4 hours in, you're still alive. Not because of luck, because you made rational decisions in an irrational situation. That might not feel like an achievement, but it is. The hardest part now isn't survival. It's maintaining discipline for another 44 hours. Outside, the world continues its invisible burning. Inside, you wait for mathematics to work in your favor. 5 hours after the first alert, you're still breathing. That might sound like a low bar, but in nuclear war, survival is measured in small victories. You're not vomiting from radiation sickness. You're not burned. You're not buried under rubble. You have water. You have food. You have shelter. You made the right choices when it mattered most. But the hardest phase is just beginning. The radiation outside is still roughly 10 times higher than it was an hour ago, following that relentless 7 to 10 decay curve. Your basement shelter is working exactly as physics predicts. Every hour you remain inside improves your odds of long-term survival. And yet your mind rebels. You hear a car engine in the distance, somehow still running. Maybe an older model without modern electronics. Maybe pure chance. The sound fades quickly. You wonder who's driving, where they're going, whether they understand what they're moving through. The radio crackles again. Checkpoint at Highway 9 and Miller Road. Decontamination facilities operational. Do not approach without. Static. But that's different. That's the first mention of real infrastructure, specific locations, actual aid being organized. The world outside your shelter isn't just dying, it's reorganizing itself into disaster response. That's encouraging and terrifying. Encouraging because it means civilization hasn't completely collapsed. Terrifying because the existence of decontamination stations confirms a brutal truth. Everything outside is poisoned. You do the math on your supplies again. Water, 3 days, maybe 4 if you stretch it. Food, at least a week's worth of calories, even if nutrition is poor. Hunger won't kill you first. Sanitation will become the real problem. Your improvised waste system will get worse with time. Hygiene will be harder to maintain. But the most important math is radiation exposure. If the initial fallout deposited around 1,000 roentgens per hour at ground level, and your basement provides a protection factor of 10, then early on you're absorbing roughly 100 roentgens per hour. Over 48 hours, that sounds like 4,800 roentgens. Except radiation doesn't work that way. Decay isn't linear, it's exponential. The first hour was the worst, the second hour was significantly better. Each hour after that improves dramatically. By the 48-hour mark, your exposure rate will be down to maybe 1 roentgen per hour. When you add it all up, your total dose is likely in the range of 300 to 400 roentgens. Enough to make you sick, probably not enough to kill you. The math is on your side, but only if you stay disciplined for another day and a half. 6 hours in, you allow yourself to think about what comes after. When you finally leave this shelter, the world won't just be radioactive, it will be changed. Supply chains broken, communication unreliable, government services overwhelmed. The immediate blast zone will be uninhabitable for decades. Areas with lighter fallout will still require massive cleanup. Property values will collapse. Businesses will close forever. If this was a single attack, recovery is possible, but measured in years. If it was part of a wider exchange, if multiple cities were hit, then you're witnessing the end of the modern world as you knew it. But those are tomorrow's problems. Today's mission is simpler. Stay alive for another 42 hours. Your thoughts drift to people you know, family in other cities, friends, co-workers, neighbors. Are they safe? Did they know to shelter immediately? How many trusted instinct instead of physics? Guilt creeps in. You should have warned people. You should have checked on the elderly couple next door. You should have helped more. That guilt is dangerous. It pushes people to leave shelter too soon, to take risks that feel moral, but are fatal. The hard truth is this: in the first hours of nuclear war, altruism often kills. You can't help anyone if you're dead. Be honest in the comments. Could you make these choices? Could you stay inside knowing others might need help? It's a brutal calculation no one wants to face. 7 hours after the alert, radiation outside has dropped to around 100 roentgens per hour, still deadly with prolonged exposure, but no longer instantly fatal. In 41 more hours, it will drop to around 10, elevated, dangerous, but survivable for short trips. The math is inexorable. Physics doesn't care about fear, boredom, guilt, or desperation. Radioactive isotopes decay according to fixed laws, whether you want them to or not. Your job is to wait. You lean back against the cold concrete wall of your shelter. Outside, the invisible fire continues to cool. Inside, you count hours instead of minutes, if there's still a life left to reclaim. The first 60 minutes of nuclear war taught you lessons you never wanted to learn. That civilization is fragile, that survival requires discipline over instinct, and that sometimes the bravest action is doing nothing at all. You survived the first hour. The next 47 will test everything you have left. But you're still breathing, you're still thinking, you're still alive. And in nuclear war, that's victory enough. If this breakdown helped you understand what nuclear survival actually looks like, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments which survival scenarios you want explored next. Because in a world gone mad, knowledge isn't just power, it's the difference between life and death.